basically the whole point of your resume is to show a hiring manager and the HR team why is it worth talking to you? Why is it worth bringing you in for an interview? At the high level, that's what this whole thing is all about. And so this basically is to get your foot in that door. And once your foot is in that door, you also have to be ready to talk about your resume. So as soon as they actually have you in that, conference room or a Zoom call or whatever, you also have to be ready to, at any point, look at one of those experiences and start talking about it, and also be able to phrase it in such a way that, for whatever job you're applying for, it would seem as it's relevant for that type of work. And that's something that took me a long time to figure out. I think a lot of people, myself included, when I started out writing resumes, when I was still in college, just thought like the resume is your opportunity to just blast everything at somebody and show them how many different things you have and what you bring to the table and all this stuff. And the unfortunate thing is, at the end of the day, I think less is more, in the sense that if you know what your selling points are, what is your relevant experience, that should go at the top of your resume. And you just really want to hit home, like, why is that important? And so, another thing I want to make note of is, other mistakes I see that I just want to call out here, is like putting your phone number on here, putting your home address on here. So many people and bots will look and scan at your resume that I'm pretty uncomfortable putting any kind of super personal info, and I honestly consider my cell phone number to be personal info on here, that I just don't do that. And home address also, there's no reason for someone to know where I live. Maybe if I was about to get an offer letter or was about to join a company at that point, I'd be comfortable telling my employer where I live. But when you're this early on in the process, it's really not necessary, and I don't recommend it. So just my advice on that one. Another thing I'll say, based on a lot of resumes I've seen and what my early resumes looked like, is that basically I think keeping it as clean and simple and easy to read as possible is very important. I don't think colors help, and also note that most offices probably don't even have color printers. So, when the HR rep prints out your resume and hands it to the hiring manager, very likely it's all going to be black and white at the end of the day. So just assume it's going to be black and white, and just try to keep it very clean and simple. I know that my resumes perhaps have a lot of words on them, but I think it's really about just making it easy to read. Very quickly, someone in a couple seconds can look at this thing and know exactly like, what roles have you had. Does this even seem like it's something that's going to be relevant for what I'm looking for? And if they want to know more about a role, it's pretty easy, because you just can start looking at like bullet points for that role. So that's how I try to structure things. Also having little links, like I have a link to my YouTube channel, a link to my GitHub, because I've got a lot of stuff in there for my past work. It's like a little portfolio. I like to throw those in there so that, like, if you are genuinely interested in learning more about my work, you can go do that. But I'm not going to just dump it all on my resume, because obviously most people won't even dig that deep into these things, because there's a statistic out there that basically everyone in HR is only going to look at your resume for a couple of seconds before they make a decision on to interview you or not. So really putting and thinking about your selling points and making sure that they're easy to find and near the top of the page is super important. And so that's also a very important thing here. And in my mind, the analogy that I like to draw is to just think about this like, if you're ever in a mall and you're just walking through the mall and you look at storefronts, because there's only so much space allocated to that given storefront before it's another storefront. Your resume is very much like that storefront, where you have to very carefully pick what items are you showing in your storefront, and you have to maximize your use of this tiny little space. And you want to make sure that whatever is in there is stuff that's going to catch the attention of someone looking at this. And obviously, this is a sales pitch, but you want to be honest, and so you don't want to just make up things or dramatize stuff or be hyperbolic. But you really want to make sure that what are your selling points, and then make sure that those selling points are very easy to find. So like in my case, and I include a little summary section on my resume, because I know a lot of people who look at this probably are like HR recruiters or something. They're not necessarily going to know everything about all types of software development or whatever nuances of a particular company that I've worked at, but I'm just trying to really spell out briefly like what is it that, what type of professional do I feel like I am, and what types of goals do I have? And hopefully it gives them a better idea of what roles would I be a good fit for, or why, if I'm applying for a role, would I think that I'm applying for this for a good reason because of my interests. So it's basically just spelling out your interests, and kind of giving someone a 50,000 foot perspective on who you are as a professional and where you see yourself going. And so that's why I've got a little summary section here, not required. And honestly, I think sometimes your experience can just speak for itself. So I've had a lot of resumes where I don't even have a summary section, but it's up to you. Another thing I will say here is in addition to listing out your experience, which honestly is, I think, the most important part of your resume. So that's the reason why I try to put my experience as high up as I can. The other thing to note here is to not just say what your title was, and to not say how long you worked there, but to really talk about what did you do, because everyone's titles are things that hopefully there's a lot of overlap between companies, but people with the same titles can be doing very different things, and so you want to make it very clear, like, what is it specifically that you're doing in this role. And not just describing what are you doing, but why. Like, why is this important, or why is this helpful or beneficial to the company, or how does this speak to your qualifications as someone looking to apply for a job. And so I think it's pretty cool to include little metrics if you can, to be like, if you built some kind of tool, like, well, what did that tool actually do, and how many people actually used it? Or if you did something that helped save money, like, how much money did you save? It's things like that, to just make it very, very clear. Not just what were you doing, but why did it matter, and what impact did you have, and specifically, like, what did you do personally, not your team, because it's not about your team. This resume is about yourself, and what did you specifically do, and what was the outcome of what you did. And so, like, to me, I think that's a super important thing that's often lost, is that people just kind of make very, very long resumes with a bunch of stuff, and you go into extreme detail about everything that you do, but you're missing the point, which is really explaining why did you do any of that stuff. What was the business value of it? Honestly, that's the most important thing, is what is the business value of what are you doing, and making that very clearly spelled out in this thing, in the details, as to, like, why did you do this, and hopefully at the end of the day has something to do with the customer experience. Like, you want to improve the customer experience, or somehow you want it to save costs, reduce costs, or you want it to increase profits or increase revenues, like something that just shows that there's business value in the work that you've done. Because at the end of the day, that is what the hiring managers are looking for, is someone who's going to add value to their team, and they need to see that the person is qualified for that role. And the more qualifications you can show for the role through your resume, the easier it makes it for the hiring manager to onboard you, because training people is a lot of money and time, and it takes other people's money and time away from them to train you. So it's like, if you can show that you are a super qualified candidate that's basically not going to need any training and can hit the ground running, then you're a lot more valuable than someone who looks like they're going to need months and months of training before they can do anything. So another very important part of phrasing your resume in just the right way, that it is able to, land you that interview. And actually, interviewing is a whole other thing, but this is your first impression. This is where you try to make the most of that finite, storefront space that you have, and to put your best foot forward with a hiring manager. And another thing I'll say that is, for me, I think very important, and I want to give a shout out to Amazon, because like they have a bunch of stuff here where they tell you, like, exactly what types of people are they looking for. Like, they want customer obsessed people to work with them. They want people who take ownership. They want people who are willing to invent and simplify, where they can. And they have a lot of great resources here that's just public info for anybody to look through. And something else I think is really cool, and I would try to build this into my own resume, is something called the STAR format. So if you're really lost and you honestly have no idea how to start with anything, or you've just listed out all the positions you've held and that's all you have, and you're like, well, what else did you go into here? I think this STAR format's a great place to start. And I have a little example here that I can show and walk through you guys with. But basically, situation, like, what is this thing even talking about? or what's the context here? And so like an example for me that I actually did and was involved with, and this is stuff I talk about on my resumes or in my interviews and stuff, but this is stuff that hopefully you can consolidate and condense down into a resume form. It's something where you're just talking about like what's the context of the situation. So you worked on a customer service team at a biotech company, and these biotech machines exported log files, but these log files were really hard to work with and we couldn't really gain any insights from. And so what was the task, or what was your team's goal? And our goal is to basically improve the customer experience, because that's the whole point of customer service, right? It's to make sure our customers have the best experience they can on our platform. And then action. What did you specifically do in this role? And you just walk into it. So you taught yourself how to write Python. You wrote programs to open up log files and query them so that you can get insights on how to resolve customer problems. You develop, it's just me talking, but anyway, developing a Flask web application with a user-friendly front end, so that people can easily upload logs to this thing to help troubleshoot faster. And then results, like just give me some empirical numbers on what did you do that actually, what was the impact of everything that you did. And, in my case, it significantly reduced the amount of time it took for us to analyze log files. And we were able to diagnose hundreds of issues very, very quickly. And we're also able to now copy these issues and relay them back to our service teams or our research and development teams, that in terms of, where do they prioritize their resources for improving the product, they now have more data to act on. So like just a very concise thing that shows that a project you did and why it mattered in a business context is stuff that I think is just super important, and hopefully this stuff is helpful. I'm happy to put a link to some of this stuff, and I basically have some notes here that describe my tips on this, and so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them, and hope y'all are doing well, and yeah, good luck if you're applying for jobs. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you guys next time.